What is up YouTube, it's Kingfisher745, and in this video we're taking a look at the second All Hail the King segment ever. No, I'm not going to keep a running tally every week, as in next week I'll say this is the third and the fourth, but just to keep it all in perspective, this is another very early podcast segment. But you know what? There were some really powerful combinations in the early days. This episode is no different. In fact, this is where I announced one of my favorite PvP teams that kept me in Adamantium and won me heroes for a few seasons there. The team ended up being known as Magic Trauma. It featured Dr. Voodoo and Emma Frost. And in a time where there was really high attack teams and very quick matches, they could keep you in the match because Emma was very difficult to hurt, while Dr. Voodoo could possess someone, making them attack their own teammate and at the same time putting himself into phased and out of harm's way. This allowed me to compete with agents who had even higher hero and armory bonuses than me. So if you are having trouble, this may be a team you want to try out. What I did notice while doing new gameplay footage is that today's teams are nowhere near as fast as they used to be. We're talking about back when teams like Quicksilver and Juggernaut dominated in PvP. They would often kill someone in the first round. By the second round, the match was over. That is a very rare occasion nowadays. So if Magic Trauma could handle those teams, let's see what they do in today's PvP.
What is up everybody, it's Kingfisher745, and welcome to the All Hail the King segment only on the From the Helicarrier podcast. Last week I brought you an awesome combination featuring a weapon which you could farm for free in Season 2, Chapter 2, Mission 6. This week it's all about the team, and my hint to you about this team was that it would be a psychic onslaught guaranteed to traumatize your enemies. Now most of you correctly identified that it would feature Emma Frost, but I don't think that many of you guessed the other character correctly. So who is Emma's mystery partner, you ask? Well, none other than Dr. Voodoo. And the team name, of course we need a team name. And for this one, it's going to be Magic Trauma. Now let me start out by saying this team is extremely powerful, especially on offense. And I won nearly every single battle with them. I would have to say it's maybe my highest win rate ever on offense, at least against really quality opponents. As far as my setup, first my agent was always in the empowered infiltrator armor, at least until the last few days, and that's when I had to switch over to the bruiser armor, solely because of Deadpool, but we won't get into that right now. Next I had Dr. Voodoo and of course Emma Frost as a tactician. Then as far as weapon setup, I was using the cube, the Warbringer axe, the Savant spear, and the scroll. Now I fully understand that you may not have all of these weapons, but you don't necessarily need them. Just compensate as best as you can and come up with an item set based on your needs. For instance, instead of the Warbringer axe, you could use an item that gives your whole team strengthened. Or to be honest, you could just boost Emma Frost. And we'll get to that in just a moment. Before I start explaining the main premise of this team, I should mention that there are several details and small little tips and tricks that you'll learn simply by using them, and also by watching the corresponding All Hail the King video episode, which will be posted tomorrow night. But right now we will explain what makes Magic Trauma so lethal, and ultimately very successful, especially in today's PvP environment. Dr. Voodoo has many amazing abilities, and they will come into play depending on your situation or what team you're up against. But we're going to focus on two right now. The first one being Spirit Possession. This ability is part of his level 6 multifunction, and what it does is three things. First, when you use it, Dr. Voodoo becomes phased, so he avoids all attacks except magic and psychic attacks. Secondly, he takes control of whatever character you target, and that causes them to attack their own teammate. And lastly, it causes that character to have to recharge on their next turn. Now this is extremely useful, especially when it actually works, and trust me, it does work more often than not. But even if it doesn't work, it still makes Dr. Voodoo phased. So he's going to dodge Deadpool's attacks, Quicksilver, Magneto, Juggernaut, you name the popular character, he's going to avoid their attack. Remember, he avoids all attacks except magic and psychic. You really don't see that many psychic attackers on defense anymore. And then characters with magic attacks like Nico, well, he has magic warding to help deal with them. Then with Emma's turn, you can use her Psychic Tap, or Mental Trauma, or even War Diamond, whatever you feel is best. The same thing goes for your agent. But on the second round, now this is where the fun begins. Now at this point in the battle, you should have access to Dr. Voodoo's level 9. If everything went well, he should still be phased, and you should have all your teammates. So when you use this ability on Emma Frost, she should gain 2 extra turns. You can then use those extra turns to cast Mental Trauma, and for anyone who's ever experienced that move, you know it's devastating. It's a psychic AoE, so it's basically a stealthy attack, which hits all the enemies for major damage, and it bypasses shields and everything. With the extra turns from Dr. Voodoo and Emma's own turn, she should have 3 opportunities to cast Mental Trauma in 1 round. This will lay waste to almost any enemy team. So trust me, it's definitely something you want to try out. So make sure you stay tuned for the video, and now I'm going to throw it back to the host.